The FBI opened a warrant in the Trump campaign late July 2016. This is interesting because this is when I reported much of what I knew to the FBI and experienced a lot of insane things. I had been approached by intelligence officers. Well, I had a coworker who was talking to intelligence officers online, and it was WikiLeaks, and she was working for the Trump Pence campaign. Pretty much, she had told me Trump would run and pick Pence, and she knew my town would make national news before the election because Target was going to do a trans bathroom policy that our city council would ban. And there was, Bible thumpers going through Target yelling Bible verses at people, and they wanted counter protesters for that event. And they had also had told me the council was deep state and would be standing in the middle of my street and all that. And it ended up happening when they built a fire station on my street. So I wrote some things what I had knew, and it ended up sounding a lot like the Mueller report. And it's very dark. The first time I ever had experience with espionage, it was like first year of college. Two women posed as international students and spoke to my class, asked us to raise our hands if we had any relatives overseas. I raised my hand, and they asked if he was working for the government, and I said no, he's a missionary. Then they pressed the issue, and I said, well, he is Republican. That kind of gets yoked to their faith, like the Southern Baptists believe, slavery was God approved and all that stuff. But and apparently now it's capitalism, because he comes back and tells me he gets kicked out for capitalist propaganda, and it's like this is the essence of the Bible right here. If everybody in the world had $100 and they redistributed wealth, in 100 years the rich would have their money back because they're harder workers. And I was like, that's not scriptural. Jesus said over 100 times to feed the hungry and heal the sick. It's not statistical. Like, people born in that class stay in that class, and those don't rarely make it. And could be considered propaganda. And that's where I went in late July 2016, because I experienced things like the Cuba embassy workers. It felt like a concussion about. And I was working at Walmart, and people there were talking about things, and they seemed to coincide with what was going on. There was like, well, they'll either say something's mentally wrong with you, or they'll find something on you. Either way, you shut up about it. And I was hearing all these crazy things. And then they put me in a back room, and that's a whole nother story. But we need to impeach and convict Trump.